This is the first video in the chapter on solutions, and this video is about dissolution. The main ideas are going to be solution properties, steps of dissolution, and enthalpy of dissolution. So let's start with a refresher on solution properties, since this was in your previous chemistry course the last time you talked about this. So in the chapter just before this, you were talking about liquids, which is one compound in the liquid phase, and now we're going to talk about solutions, which is more than one compound mixed together. So a solution is a homogeneous mixture of two or more substances. And sometimes these are liquids, but not always. So let's break that down. So two or more substances, these substances have names. These are called the solute or solutes if there's more than one, and the solvent. So let's have a quick refresher on what that is. So the solute is going to be the minor component of the solution. This is the one being dissolved, the one that there's less of. So in my beaker here, there's going to be a few molecules of solute. Solvent, that's the bigger piece, the major component. There are going to be way more molecules of solvent in the solution, so many that it would almost be silly to try to draw all of them in the solution. What we usually do is we just shade the rest of it and we say all of the rest of it is going to be the solvent. And then our name for all of it is, of course, the solution. Solute or multiple solutes plus solvent. Okay, so there's our terminology refresher. Let's go back to our solution definition. The other part of the definition is that it's a homogeneous mixture. This means the composition is consistent throughout the entire solution. So consistent composition throughout. And that means if you were to take a dropper and you were to take 1 milliliter out of the solution, it would have the same composition as any other 1 milliliter dropper you took out. So all of them should be the same. Okay, so now we know the names for each of these parts. And so we had said that these are often liquid, but not always. So let's look at some examples. So the phase of the solution usually matches the phase of the solvent, which is the bigger piece. You were using blue for solvent. So it usually matches the solvent, but it isn't always a liquid. So here is a table that came out of your book from page 601. And let's look at some example solutions. So here's some example solutions. And you might notice that they look familiar. So here's air. Air is a solution of gases. Oxygen, there's only about 20% oxygen in the air and 70% nitrogen in the air. So nitrogen is going to be the solvent, and nitrogen is a gas, and so air is a gas, just like the solvent. Here's one, soft drinks, or pop as we call them here. Soft drinks are liquid, and they are a solution of carbon dioxide gas dissolved in water liquid. This is a liquid, and this is a liquid. So we can also have solid solutions. So here's one, hydrogen dissolved in palladium. Palladium is a solid, and hydrogen gas can be dissolved in it. So this is going to be a solid once it's dissolved. This is a liquid in a liquid solution of water dissolved in 2-propanol to make rubbing alcohol. Here's one with a solid dissolved in a liquid, which is salt water, with sodium chloride dissolved in water, and brass is a solid-solid solution. So one solution that isn't possible, we can't dissolve a solid in a gas because the intermolecular forces of the solid are too much stronger than that of a gas. But almost any other combination is possible. So these are the different types of solutions. And in the next video, we'll talk about the steps of dissolution and the enthalpy involved in each step.